Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world. My name is Dr. DAAM. This is Dr. DAAM Podcast, also known as the Society Podcast, or affectionately known as the Mom and Podcast. Before I start, what this episode is about, I'll just say the title, but it's Real Master of Pizza, episode 34. But before I get into the topic, this is more of a fun topic than anything else, I'd like to apologize for yesterday's episode. There was some technical issues where I forgot to turn on my mic, so I was using the camera's mic, which has more of a muffling feel. So episode 33 didn't turn out the way I wanted. Why varieties is so important, but the content was there, so I just left it as is versus changing it out. And I'm only a one-man show. I don't have any kind of supporting staff, so what I produce is what I produce, and I move forward with that. But I do occasionally make edits and changes as necessary. But most times, what the product that's produced is what you see come forward. So I did a little test before I started this episode on Real Master Pizza to make sure the fact that the right volume, the right mic was actually live. So you'll have a difference. You'll only see the difference going forward for this episode. So I know I normally talk about a lot of different topics. I'm not one to speak on same topics over and over again. You can see I have a very eclectic worldview, meaning the fact that I can talk on a range of topics versus just one singular topic. I think by now you realize the books behind me have some kind of significance in terms of the reach and scope of what I can talk about in general. And I truly value the book behind me, which is Range, the fact that it focuses on how generalists thrive in a specialized world, where specialists are usually the one called upon, but generalists are the ones who truly make it over the long term in this great world we live in, this great society we live in. So, just wanted to, if you're wondering why I'm jumping from vaccines to pizza, and then 2 episodes ago I focused on military veterans and the what was going on in Las Vegas and in New Orleans and so forth. So today I want to talk about pizza. It's constantly a debated topic in terms of which society have the best pizza. You guys already know my bias by now. I think New York has the best of most things, so that's without a doubt. I think New York pizza stands atop of the mountain of pizza. Chicago is running a very, very close 1.1, not a 1.0, but 1.1, because it's really up there, because I've had both, and sometimes you really can't tell the difference between Chicago pizza and New York pizza. But the genesis of this story was of what I want to talk about. The Real Master of Pizza was based on the fact that early today, here where I live, in New York City metro area, my family, we went to ice skating, took my little girls ice skating, and then I had a craving for pizza, specifically New York style pizza, so we bought it and we've consumed it during the evening. And we bought two large pizzas. One was all pepperoni, the other one was half cheese, half pepperoni, because we have some family members who just want the plain pizza, so we go with that. And one thing I discovered early on was the fact that different societies have a different approach to pizza. So, I grew up in New York City, as I've mentioned before, and we have a very, very robust pizza of different styles, but it's usually cheese, pepperoni, tomato sauce, and crust and so forth. And then there's all these other variations, and it runs the gamut. And I'm just a base kind of guy. I like my pepperoni and occasionally like jalapenos on pepperoni and pepperoni pizza. But I remember in what year was it? It was 2007. Was it 2007 when I first visit Italy? So I first visited Italy in 2007, and I was, I thought to myself, Italy, Rome, Italy was home of the pizza. The fact that Italian food came from Italy, which is called food in general, but not Italian food. It's called food in general. So I ordered pizza. I was like, okay, want to taste how different pizza is in Italy. It might have been Venice. Actually, I'm sorry. I think it might have been 2000. Yeah, it was 2006. Yeah, it was 2006. Somewhere 2006. I hadn't gone off to combat yet, and I basically had pizza in Venice and I had pizza in Rome, and I was stunned to realize the fact that Italian pizza in Italy did not measure up to New York pizza, and which was shocking to me. Because when I asked for pizza, I was expecting, pepperoni. When I asked for pepperoni pizza, I was expecting pepperoni and cheese. Instead, I got something that was approximately pepperoni, or was some kind of sausage and a flat cheese and with sometimes with no tomato sauce. I was like, "Where's the tomato sauce?" And I remember in Rome asking for a 4 cheese pizza, expecting the pizza to come with sauce and cheese, but it was only 4 cheeses, and I was like, what? It was kind of shocking discovering the fact that what was on the menu was actually what was on the menu versus the other ingredients you would expect in terms of the pizza. And so that was my baptism in terms of how pizza is different in its motherland versus the future derivations that were created in United States. And in Germany, I would discover, the fact that pizza was more close in proximity to what you would find in America, but you use it with a knife and fork. We're accustomed to sliced pizza in America with large slices and so forth, but in Germany it was, knife and fork, and it was similar in Italy, and it was it was in the zeros or the aughts, and I was discovering the fact that pizza was different in Europe than they were in the United States, and you come to a realization that you've basically by accident discovered that pizza, in terms of ranking, you lived in the place where pizza had the higher ranking. It was hilarious to me to discover that as a young man in Europe, the fact that United States, specifically New York, had a better pizza, different style of pizza than in Europe, especially in Rome, in Italy, and such. And the reason why I wanted to bring up this topic was the fact that my daughter, we were in Hungary this past summer, end of the summer, and we went to a local, I think it was a Turkish eatery or something like that. That was actually selling pizzas and stuff like that. It was a pizza restaurant, and with other items around it. And we ordered. This was in Budapest, downtown Budapest, and we ordered. It was about, what was it? Maybe 12 o'clock at night. We ordered pizza, and we were eating it. And my daughter looked at me and was like, "Daddy, this is not pizza." It's like it was for her, it was eye-opening in terms of what pizza in Europe was like, especially in Hungary, because she was baptized in New York pizza. So for her, pizza is New York pizza, New York style pizza. And if I'm saying, by the way, if I'm saying pizza wrong, doesn't matter. It can be pizza, pizza, however you want to pronounce it. I'm saying pizza. And so my eldest daughter had the shocking discovery that pizza is not equal in the world. And it was a learning experience for her because it was almost the same thing as like hot dogs. For my other daughter also too. I think also when we went to to England, they ordered hot dogs on the road or something like that. Just similar to how we do it here in New York. And I think both of them, both my second daughter, my eldest daughter, had the same reaction. It said, "Daddy, this doesn't taste like hot dog. This doesn't taste like New York hot dog." It was it was one of those moments where you as a father you're thinking to yourself, well, kids, nothing tastes like New York items, because they're so accustomed to the much more richer flavors of food. I don't know if it's the fact that it's the preservatives or whatever, or there's much or ever how food is made in Europe, but different societies have different way of making items. They all have their special foods. I would say if I was in Germany, I'd prefer German schnitzel over here in the United States. If I would prefer some kind of steak in Germany over a steak somewhere else, but if I really want to go to get a steak, I'd get it in New York or in Texas or in Kansas. And if I want ribs or barbecue, I would be in Kansas City, Missouri, because I think they have some of the best, and also Texas, from the places I've eaten and so forth. I think New York runs a close third, but that's just again my bias based on the fact that I've only eaten really good barbecue in Kansas City, Missouri, Austin, Texas, and in I think also San Antonio, Texas, and also in Manhattan, New York. But I'm sure there's other places across the United States that have really good barbecue. I have not seen strong barbecue in other countries, but I would say the UK. I know we're supposed to be talking pizza, but I'm just talking food in general. I would say the fact that there was a restaurant near Tower Bridge, near the Tower of London, that has American style barbecue, and it was spot on. You're like, okay, thunderclap, thunderclap, thunderclap. Good job. It was amazing. And we went back there a couple of times because the kids loved it. I loved it, and it was the closest approximation to home. And you watch. It's amazing how when you're in other countries, you ignore the McDonald's, you ignore the Burger Kings, because all that stuff is like still standard or generic or whatever, but you're still trying to find the types of foods, the rich kind of foods that are healthy, that are associated with your home country, and you want to ensure that the fact that you have some kind of connection. And that's the same thing like pizza or hot dogs or ribs and stuff like that, but especially pizza. And it's interesting when my relatives were here from different parts of the world, they wanted to understand the tastes of New York style pizza. And I had one relative who had a gluten allergy, and she still wanted New York style pizza, but had to be gluten free. And the great thing about it being in New York, and for those who have come to New York City, is the fact that if you want something made, as long as you're willing to pay for it, the bakers, the people, the chefs or whatever will make it for you, because that's the kind of customer service we value in our society. And again, this is a society podcast, so I'll always, at some point in time in the podcast, talk about either this is the Mom and Pop podcast or the Society podcast, because this is what it is, and it's all about bringing joy and benefit and enliven society and so forth. But in New York City, there's always the ability to find a place that would fit your need in terms of what you want. The chefs, the whoever is cooking or whatever, will try to make the food as closely approximate to what you want. So my cousin in the in Penn Station, for those who've it's called the Moynihan Hall or something like that, where there's a slew of restaurants and there's a bunch of you can see Insomnia Cookies there. You can see Starbucks. You can see other restaurants there also too. And there's a nice pizza restaurant in there that I think it's Randy or something. I forgot what the name of it. But you're able to ask for pizza, and we all sat down there and ate. My cousin ordered a pizza, and I told her, and she was like, "Why is it taking so long?" I said, "How much did you pay?" She said, "I paid $23." I was like, "Okay, you paid for a whole pie, and they're only going to make a whole pie in this case. They're not going to make one slice of a gluten-free pizza for you." But they made a good pie for her in terms of gluten-free New York-style pizza. And you won't get that in a lot of countries, so because the one thing about New York society, we're all foodies. We love food. And as I said before, they'll find a way to accommodate you. So it's not surprising that my children, who have spent the last 4 years walking around New York City with me, touring New York City, doing different things, but always consuming pizza, hot dogs, and stuff like that, and legitimately good food also, their taste buds are so associated with how intoxicating New York food is. So when they have to compare in another country or even another state, they look at me and ask, "Daddy, what's going on here?" I have to tell them the truth. There's no place like New York, and there's no place like New York food. So pizza is a special kind of food for us New Yorkers. And today, when I left the skating rink with my children, because they wanted to go skating, ice skating, and I promised I'd take them ice skating, I had a craving for pizza. And especially since I'm going to be traveling for the next couple of weeks, I wanted some kind of New York style pizza to take me on the road. And we basically bought 2 large pies, as I mentioned at the start of this podcast, and we're currently consuming it. And the children love it because this is what pizza is. This is what they're accustomed to. Has there been bad New York style pizza? Yeah, but I would rate the fact that it's generally really, really good. I would say it's about a 95.5. The fact that most New York pizza will be good because the creators of the pizza, the bakers or whatever, I'm just trying to figure out what the pizza people are called actually. They take pride in it. They're real masters of pizza. So they want to ensure that those who visit their establishments enjoy the pizza at hand, so they can, say the fact that they've had a genuine New York style pizza. They've been able to consume something that's real pizza from real masters of pizzas, and it's for those who are just visiting New York once. Those people want them to leave with the fact that you've had the best pizza in the world. And I would say I've had pizza across the world. And without a doubt, I would say New York pizza is the best in the world. With Chicago, as I said before, coming a very, very, very close 1.1 second. 1.1 as second. 1.0 is New York. 1.1 is Chicago, okay? Because it's really hard to say they're very far apart. And I would say other states and other places may come a distant third or whatever. I've seen a map that somebody put up one time where New York wasn't even put on the map. I think Chicago was number 10 or something. I was like, what are these people talking about? They don't understand pizza. So, if you're looking for the real masters of pizza, really good pizza, come to the society that makes really good pizza, and that's New York Society, the Great Society. So, Real Masters of Pizza, thank you for making our city great, making the New York City metro area great for pizza. Truly appreciate it. Again, this was supposed to be a fun podcast. My background will change over the next 2 weeks because I have to travel. I'll see how many episodes I can put up over the next 2 weeks as I'm traveling. But I want to say thank you very much for sitting with me through episode 34 at this point in time, Real Masters of Pizzas. And have a great evening. Please like and subscribe to my podcast. This is Dr. DAAM on Real Masters of Pizza. Please be safe and have a great weekend.